Hey guys, Ultra Maximus back with another video spotlight, and today I wanted to take a look at the Starfleet that assembled in Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 1. I came across a really good article on ScreenRant.com. I will list the link down below so you can take a look at the original article, but they actually broke out every single Federation starship that was in that fleet. So I thought, let's go ahead and take a look at them and see which vessels made that Borg Anomaly. And a lot of them are ships from the TNG era, which are fantastic, but are now over 20 years old, which is crazy to think about. Some were made specifically for Star Trek Picard and are brand new ships, which is pretty exciting, and a lot of them actually come from Star Trek Online. So let's go ahead and begin transmission. So the very first vessel to encounter the Anomaly was the USS Avalon, which is an Akira-class vessel, and that was first seen in Star Trek First Contact back in the late 90s, and has been seen in Deep Space Nine as well. And, well, this ship is over 20 years old already, which is crazy. The Akira-class vessels that were in the fleet were the USS Avalon Ncc 63887, which of course is the vessel that discovered the Anomaly, the USS Thundercloud Ncc 63549, the USS Rabin Ncc 63293, and the USS Helios Ncc 63284. And, of course, the USS Stargazer is assigned to investigate the Anomaly, which is the Sutherland-Class Starship. It's the first time we have seen this. It was made specifically for this show, and it is Ncc 82893, and it has an additional number to the old Stargazer, which was Picard's first Starship Command, and it's a cool-looking ship. It's an updated version of the old Constellation class, which is pretty nice to see. Of course, this is where all the action kicks off at the beginning of the show, and it's captained by Chris Rios, and Picard shows up, and, well, so do the Borg. And then we get a very surprising ship, the Uss Excelsior, but it's not the original Excelsior piloted by Sulu. It is Ncc 42037. So this is the next generation of Excelsior class vessel, and Raffi is on this ship as well as our Romulan cadet. And I'm presuming it's a training ship since they're putting cadets on it. I'm not really sure, but it's really cool to see the 24th century version of an Excelsior class vessel. Now, there was a second Excelsior class vessel at the Anomaly. It was the USS Eureka Ncc 42023, and this piece of art gives us a nice look at the vessel itself. Again, it very much looks like the old Excelsior class of the 23rd century with modern Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Online / TNG upgrades. I really like this next generation of Excelsior class. And then we have a handful of the Inquiry class starship, which Riker actually captained the Xing He, which was supposed to be the biggest, baddest, latest starship that Starfleet had built. So this represents the top-of-the-line starship in Star Trek Picard, and we actually see a few of these show up in this fleet, unlike like 1,000 of them at the end of Star Trek Picard Season 1. So we had 5 Inquiry-class starships arrive at the Anomaly. They were the USS Xing He, which Riker commanded in the first season, Ncc 86505, the USS Rastaj, Ncc 86503, the USS Magellan, Ncc 86509, the USS Nathan Hale, Ncc 86501, and the USS Shackleton Ncc 86517. And then we also get the Sovereign class show up. There's actually about 8 of them that show up, which marks the very first time we've ever seen the Sovereign class starship on television. It's only been in the Next Generation movies, which is very, very cool to see on the small screen. And it's funny because last time we think of this, that was the top of the line starship, and now it's over 20 years old, so it's kind of an old workhorse. Now, the Sovereign class vessels that show up to the Anomaly are the USS Gilgamesh, which is kind of a fun nod to the TNG episode where Picard was telling the alien about the story of Gilgamesh. NCC 74669, the USS Arsinoe NCC 75307, the USS Hrothgar NCC 74975, USS Hutchinson NCC 74957, USS Okuda NCC 74107, the USS Pachacuti NCC 74181, USS Valkyrie NCC 74877, and the USS Venture NCC 75306. Unfortunately, we do not see the Enterprise E, but at this point in the timeline, she has probably either been destroyed or retired, and if we do see an Enterprise in Star Trek Picard, it's most likely going to be the Enterprise F. Another class of starship that we saw show up is the Luna class starship, which of course is the same class that the USS Titan Will Riker took command of at the end of Star Trek Nemesis. So this was a newer ship in the TNG era, but again is over 20 years old. Now we do see Riker in command of the Titan during Star Trek Lower Decks. However, that particular vessel did not appear in the show. There were 2 Luna-class starships at the Anomaly, the USS Luna, for which the class is named, NCC 80101, and the USS Oberon, NCC 80103. Another new class of vessel that we see at the Anomaly is the Reliant class starship, which is the updated version of the Miranda class starship of the 23rd century, so it's very cool to see this get upgraded. This was made specifically for the show and Star Trek Online. And much like the Excelsior class, it's awesome to see the old Miranda class get an update design, late 24th, early 25th century. I always loved that class of vessel since Star Trek II, and just really nice to see this get a nod, and to have one named after Uhura. I think that is amazing. The Reliant class starships that were present at the Anomaly were the USS Uhura NCC 90214, the USS Clark, as in Lewis and Clark, NCC 90206, and the USS Reliant, NCC 90200, for which the class is named, and after the old Miranda class starship that the Enterprise tangled with in Star Trek II. Another updated ship design that we saw at the Anomaly was the Sutherland Class starship from Star Trek Online, and this is the kind of updated version of the Nebula class, which the Sutherland was a ship in that line, so it's kind of neat to see that ship get some upgrades in Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Online. And, the Nebula was one of my favorites in Star Trek The Next Generation, so it's really cool to see the next generation of evolution of that starship design. The Sutherland class starships we see in the fleet are the USS Almagest NCC 91870, the USS Huygens NCC 91814, the USS Ibn al-Haytham NCC 91965, and the USS Sutherland NCC 91800, for which the class is named, and the Nebula class that this is named after was actually piloted by Data during the brief Klingon Civil War. And that's just a really, really cool Easter egg. Another vessel that we see in the fleet is the USS Gagarin Ncc 97930. They say that this is presumably the prototype of the Gagarin Class starship. No other information is really given about it. However, it was designed for Star Trek Online, so we will probably get some more information about this in the near future. Another starship design from Star Trek Online that made its TV debut in this fleet was the Ross Class starship, which I thought was named after Admiral Ross from Deep Space Nine in the Dominion War, but it's actually named after a Native American engineer named Mary Golda Ross, which is kind of interesting. So we only get 2 of these starships, and it's the next generation of Galaxy Class starship is what this is. So it's the upgraded version of the Galaxy Class, and you can totally see that, and I really dig this design. So we get the USS Vanguard Ncc 75148 and the USS Yi Sun Sin Ncc 76545. Now, since this is the next generation of Galaxy-class starship, if we get Geordi show up in Star Trek Picard, I would like to see him be the captain of one of these as a USS Challenger, because in the Voyager, he had a Galaxy-class starship called the USS Challenger, so it'd be cool to see him in this next generation of Galaxy-class in that ship name. But hey, that's just me. So those were all the ships that made up the Starfleet at the Anomaly at the beginning of Star Trek Picard Season 2. Unfortunately, the ship that a lot of fans wanted to see from Star Trek Online was the Odyssey-class USS Enterprise Ncc 1701F. However, it really didn't surprise me that did not appear. They're not going to use that as a little cameo in the background of a shot. I think we are going to see the Enterprise F, and I think it is going to be the Odyssey class. However, it's going to be either at the finale of Season 2 Picard when they come back from the past, and we'll see the Enterprise F save the day, or they'll save it for a big reveal in Star Trek Picard Season 3. Maybe this will be the ship that Geordi or Worf is captain of. Who knows? But I do think we will eventually see the Enterprise F. And if we do, I hope they save it for the end of the series, make it the big grand reveal, and have Picard on the bridge of the Enterprise F with what's left of his crew. And that's how we send off Star Trek Picard in Season 3, because I think that's going to be the final season. So I think it'd be a fun send-off. So those were all the ships that we got in the fleet of Star Trek Picard Season 2, which I think is a huge improvement of what we got in Season 1. To be honest, I think that big fleet of the Inquiry class starships and then the big fleet of the Romulan starships, it was all just copy and paste, and was super lazy, and nothing like any fleet we've seen before in the Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, the movies, anything like that. Personally, I'm glad that they learned their lesson and kind of made it more diverse, and they incorporated the Star Trek Online ships in there and brought them in as canon. I think that's fantastic, and of course, you know, they're going to make a ton of models and toys of all these different ships. I know they've made quite a few of them for Star Trek Online anyway, but they'll add all those different ship names on there, which will be cool. There are a lot of them I think I'd like to pick up for my own collection. What did you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Did you like this fleet? Did you like the Starship updates? Do you play Star Trek Online? Did you see your favorite ship? I'd love to hear from you guys. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Follow me on all my socials, links down below. And as always, look for more videos in the future. In transmission. Hey guys, thanks for watching. To watch more Ultra Maximus, click on the links to the right. Be sure to click all the things, subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for new videos. And follow me on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links in the description below.